I don't know where you find this newfound confidence that you have, that you think you can do it whenever you want. Because, like, I mean,
It all comes from the microphone.
what?
The confidence came from the microphone.
The confidence comes from the microphone. I don't know how
Yeah.
you. Just because you got a bigger stick right now does not mean you. All right. And I hope usually you can leave that in too. And I don't know what I have to tell you guys that. Um, Ken, mute your mic. We're doing it now.
Yeah,
Is he
his mic
already
is
muted?
muted. Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah. So welcome to episode 8. I want to say I'm not counting anymore. Welcome to episode 8. Today we are having a very special guest. I like to say special, but not really. He is one of my co-hosts on Audio Discord. This is my one-on-one series with him, Corn. Actually, he's probably not probably. He is the only person I actually have met in real life. Maybe we'll go through how he started. How why I call him Corn, how he started this hobby, and how we met, and talk about his Hep5 thread. Maybe and then at the end, I'll probably ask him about some of the words that he likes to use. So how are you doing today, Corn?
Hello, got my new mic in. I'm very happy to increase the production quality of the podcast.
Increase your voice quality. I think that's what it is.
Oh damn.
So yeah, like I don't think people know. I don't think most people know you long enough. Like they don't get why I call you Corn. So like that's your old nickname from C Audio. Um,
Yeah. Con. Like Con is a short form for my real name, which I'm not going to disclose, of course.
right.
But like since I was young, people have been calling me Con, like because it is short form of my real name. So even in primary school, people make stupid jokes like, "Oh, you're so corny," or like, yeah, those dumb jokes. And then like, "Oh, how do you find that confidence?" Haha. Like, I'm sick of those jokes.
And well, I didn't. I'm not your childhood friend. If you want to do that anime, weeboo-ness. But the thing is that that was like when I first talked to you, your name was Corn on C Audio. So I'm just so used to calling you Corn. And at the time, I think you were actually in Japan, which was the funniest thing, right? Because you were doing like a foreign exchange thing in Japan, so you were going to school in Japan, right?
Yeah. I went to Japan. In Chiba Prefecture. It's kind of close to Tokyo, about 45 minutes away. I studied there for about a period of 5 months or so. Yeah, and I like every week I'll visit earphones and then go there and go to Akiba. Like it's pretty much the only place I go during the weekends because in Chiba there's nothing really much to do, so I would like to hang out at Akihabara with some of my friends sometimes. Yeah.
Right, right. And is that why you started that thread on Hepfi, your impression thread on Hepfi? Like,
Well, uh I've been intending to start a thread for a while now. Like back I think it's been there about 1.5 years ago or so. Before that, I've been quite interested in audio. But well, the intention of the thread was to just share more about my experiences. Not necessarily to recommend anything or to shoe anything from that sense, but I just want to create a thread to let people know like how I heard sound and my whole audio journey. And uh, currently, I would still say that this goal is still or rather this purpose of the thread is still being kept alive. Like um I don't like benefit anything from the thread. I just really share my experiences, and people can take it like however seriously they want because these are just my own experiences.
right, and I think it's kind of like a different thing from the other reviewer in Singapore. Well, he's not. I think it's very different from Crin, and not in a bad way. When I say this, is like it's a quotation, quote unquote, low production quality, as in like. So in the beginning, not right now. So in the beginning, you were just going into earphones. Best audio store, by the way. You would just go to earphone in Akihabara, and you would just spend like maybe like 3-5 hours, right? Maybe, right?
Yeah, like
Um, Yeah, and you yeah, I mean no, I do that all the time too. Like I do that too. So you don't you don't have to feel bad about it, right? I will fly to Japan and I would sit in earphone for like 6 hours, no problem. They would see me sitting there. It was just weird, right? So like you would go there for like a few hours to earphone every weekend, and you were there for like 5 months, right? And then
Hmm.
you were listening to like IEMs that maybe things that you're interested and maybe some things that people are curious about, and you would give them like maybe like how long would you say your impression demos are? Like 10, 15, 30 minutes, an hour, maybe? I don't know.
Honestly, it
In the
still
beginning,
depends on the in the beginning.
in the
Perhaps
beginning.
around. I don't think I've really changed back then to now. Like I probably give it a solid 15-20 minutes. It is not very long, but I still go through my favorite tracks again and again and again. So I do know how I want my track to sound. Uh, like I've heard things probably like this one track, it's on Baby Metal. I've heard it probably about 5,000 times so far. I've heard it on like really nice stereo speakers. I've heard it on really good headphones. I've heard it on really good IEMs. So there is a baseline of like how I expect this recording to sound. So I would just go through that track again and again and again for perhaps 2 or 3 times at first, and then I would go to other genres. And but the truth is that
Right,
uh when it comes to demoing better IEMs, I tend to spend more time. Whereas if I'm trying out something
right,
average or not very good,
right,
I'll just glance over it in like probably 10 minutes or so.
right. So would you say like maybe like for the good ones, maybe an hour? Have you ever listened to something for like an hour if you're demoing them?
Yeah, of course. I think one of
Right.
the IEMs I listened to a few hours was a I think U12T back like when I first tried it. I tried it
Disgusting.
for I think around 2 hours or so. Yeah,
We don't
I
like.
really like the warm bass of it.
Okay. And so like yeah, I think it's a very normal, and you would just post like maybe like a short impression. It's not like a full on review or like a lengthy 3 paragraph thing. It's just like a I want to say like a spur of the moment, like just like a little bit of like what you think about the IEMs, and that was your thing. Like and I think people go to the thread and read about not something like super serious just to get your 2 cents on the IEM, and I think that I wouldn't say new, but that was just like your experience. Like I think people do that all the time on the thread. Like you just put it all in one thread, right?
Yeah. It's like a whenever I write my reviews, it's not reviews, but rather impressions most of the time. It is
Right.
more of a like a conscious stream of so it's like a
Like,
stream of consciousness.
there you
Yeah,
go. That's the word.
I just blurt out whatever I feel like it.
Right. Right. And and that's just your opinion, and it's fine. And honestly, I don't agree with them. For the most part. Well, maybe. But I do have things that I agree with and things that I don't. But um, and I like how you mentioned baby metal, and that was your that was your deep dark weeaboo pass. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
you probably don't. You probably don't want. You really love baby
yeah,
metal. You
it's
really
not just past, it's like present, you know.
okay. Like I don't think you like to admit it as much now. Like I'm proud of my weakness, and you just kind of like faded that away like over the years. I feel like
uh,
what happened to that, huh?
well, I like I don't know. Like as I grew older, like like liking baby metal, like because baby metal is just made of idols, so there are like 3 girls, and then it's kind of
What's
weird
wrong with that?
it's kind of weird to obsess like over like this kind of like figures. In my opinion, like it's kind of creepy. So I'm trying not to like
Are you shaming me and my waifu? Is that what you're trying to say, huh?
yeah,
You're
low key
pick,
train you under the bus. Yeah.
dude, like you don't even understand. But I think it's funny because I feel like I have always been the same person, but like when was that time that we met? That must be like a year and a half ago, right? I think was that like April? That was the second. No,
No,
I was
it
like
was
in.
in January.
Oh, that was January of last year, right?
Yeah, January last year. Yeah, yeah.
That was my second time in Japan.
Ah.
So it's yeah, it's been a year. So that I think I've always been like and did I ever tell you when I was there?
Uh it's just a vacation, right? Oh no, it's to watch the IA concert. Am I right?
Yes. I was there for
Yeah.
the waifu concert. But like I think it's funny because like I think I have always stayed the same person, and I think I have seen you quotation mark grow over the years, for good or bad. Just to remind people, just to compare the two of us, just to remind people, what IEM did you have back in the day?
Oh
You had
wow.
334.
I
You
had
had 334.
yeah, when I met you, I had a 334. I had the
And
SH3 in a universal form. I had
mhm.
a EX800 ST. That was about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what I had?
You had oh you had VX and
No, I didn't
755.
have VX.
Oh no,
No,
you had Gemini. You
I
had
had Gemini.
Gemini. And then you had
Yeah.
the a Cosine, was it? 1551?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
160.
Oh yeah,
And
the
and then
DX160. Yeah.
I before I went on my Japanese vacation, I sold my CE5,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And I
mm,
still have my DX200.
yeah, yeah.
That was the first revision of my setup. Okay. So just to remind people now, what do you have now?
Currently I have a CIM SH3. I have a CIM 334SR. I have a CIM Craftius Craft 4. I have a CIM NG5HX from Future Sonics, as well as a Universal Craft 4 from Craftius.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just like I feel like I'm more consistent than you. I feel like you have gone to that like stage musician CIEM route a little bit too hard there over the years.
Yeah, I would say like you tend to stick to your purchases better. I would say, like I mean your Gemini and your VX, that relationship has been going on for a while. For a while. Whereas for me, once I buy a CIM, I don't sell my CIM, so I guess you could say I'm consistent in that regard. I don't know.
I had CE5 back then, and that was my fun base IEM. I had Z1R now. It's pretty much the same IEM. I had Gemini then, and I have VX now. Pretty much the same thing. I had the X200, a neutral DAP. I ran through that with my 1A again, and now I have a Concube. Again, I have always been like, and you see, I'm proud of my weeaboo past. I just think when it comes to that baby metal and the weeby thing, I think you should be a little bit more open about it. Just so I'm not the only weeb in the podcast, you know. But enough about enough about the weebism, and back to your thread.
Yeah, sure.
Um, and it's gained a lot of momentum over the months, and I think it really like I think like people like say you're the second most popular Singaporean reviewer in Singapore. Uh,
So probably, maybe not. Like
maybe
yeah, there's some local reviewers like a Audio 123,
hmm,
somewhat popular as well. Yeah.
you mean that piece of shit show? Yeah, of
Oh
course.
man. Oh no.
You're
Oh
not.
no, no.
You're not.
I've met him. He's a genuine person. So I like
I
that guy. Yeah.
I don't think I care again. Like not to talk shit, but yeah, it is to talk shit. Sorry, let me change that phrase again. I think you're the second most popular Singaporean reviewer that I somewhat care about. How about that?
All right. Yeah. That makes more
I mean,
sense.
I mean, I mean, you can name a lot of them, and I don't really. But I think I care about. I read your reviews sometimes just because like I met you and then we're friends. But I don't know, like just a little bit of maybe some drama because like with a little bit of like clout, I think you attract a little bit of like drama, and I think the first big one is that when you demo the fit ear Roland, was it?
Oh yeah. I demoed
Do
it at
you
Music
remember?
Sanctuary. Yeah, Music Sanctuary in
Yeah,
Singapore.
yeah.
Yeah.
How did that didn't turn out too well for you, huh?
Uh Not really. Like I mean, as usual, I just post my opinions, and then people like, I mean, in their own discords or in their own forms or whatever, to discuss about like Roland. I mean, suiting their preferences and then not agreeing with my review, but no one really like questioned my impressions of it.
You sure? You sure? Because like you posted on your thread, and people were like saying, "Oh, you're not using the right dab, you're not using the right cable,"
Oh right, I
and
forgot. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
forget about that. Oh my God! And I was like,
yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah,
I think that's the first time. That was the first time your credential of a reviewer has been like questioned, right?"
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
And and I think it's kind. I feel like it's kind of silly because it's always it's never like you never market it as a review. You just like, oh, it's my impression. Like impression like kind of implies that it's my opinion, right?
Yeah, I'm not too sure why people are so hung up about it. Like they
Oh,
yeah, they put themselves like in the same place as the product. So when I criticize a product, they think they're being they think they're being like nitpicked against or something. I don't know.
well, I mean, it's not a good product, right? It's pretty awful. Like, have you tried it afterwards? Like, have you tried it recently, like a rollout? I don't think you have.
Yeah, I tried it again. Like I think about 2 or 3 months back. Yeah, still bad. Yeah, it's just bad. Like honestly.
I mean, like nothing's changed, right? Did you use a different cable?
No, but I did use a different sauce.
Okay.
It sounds so dark, and I mean, no matter what, a cable can't save it.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because it's just the internal and like the inherent design. But like people were, I think that was the first time that that I think that's when it picked up and people like really questioning your maybe your credibility
Yeah,
as a reviewer.
they're mentioning that you need like power to like really power the Rolands, like you
Yeah,
need like a huge like amplifier or something. But yeah, those are just like very
on a
just worthwhile
portal,
claims to me.
right? And I feel like it's silly that say because like, oh, you need a very powerful amp on a portable source,
Yeah, it's
right?
always like powerful amp, a better cable or whatever it means, or different
And
ear tips.
right, and I don't think like do you believe in that? Tell me, like, do you believe in the source cable memes?
For most cables, like 99.999%, no. But I do believe in that one like very bad cable, like legitimately like
Right,
super high resistance, like terrible
right.
sound. Yeah.
What about the source? Because you're never the source guy. I feel like
In my opinion, sources do make a difference. Perhaps 10% in the chain. I'll put it on 10%. Yeah. Like going.
what do you have now? Like you're never like
Oh man, the Reddit people are going to love this.
um
I use the on my desktop. I use the Kadas tone control. Sorry, the Kadas tone board, and then a JDS Labs Atom.
oh
But for
my
my
god.
portable audio, for my portable setup, I use a Shanling M5S.
Oh my god. See, this is why like I again like I'm not gonna agree with the people on that fight thread. But like this is why people don't like respect quotation mark respect you as a reviewer. Like oh my god, the bit five sources, man. Like I'm like, dude. And again,
Uh,
I don't think it matters too much, and it's funny because Trin is like famously known for like fucking testing IEMs with his dongle, right? So like dude, like I can't fault you for it, but I can see where people are coming from. It's like
yeah,
um,
yeah, but like to me, amps are just to maximize the IEM, but the IEM itself makes a huge difference, like 90% of the difference.
yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Um, but I think at the same time that if you have something that's like that maybe not the Roland, but I think if you have something that's like 1.5 grand or 2 grand, you're testing an IEM that's 2 grand. I feel like it's a little bit awkward to test it when you're $500 app.
That's true. Actually, recently I tried the Shure EJ07. Yeah, that one
Mm-hmm.
had I had a controversy with it as well. Similar to the
Okay,
Roland. Yeah, so
isn't that the other awful IEM?
yeah,
The
yeah, the treble is like to me it's just non-existent. Like it sounds like the Twitter is damaged or something, but it's actually not
okay,
damaged. Like it's perfectly fine. It's just how it sounds like, how it's designed to sound like.
so
Yeah, so
it's the damaged.
yeah, so I put it on the do you know the benchmark HPA4?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like very powerful amp, and then it still sounded dark, still sounded low resolution. So I
Right.
didn't really like it.
Um, and and the other thing is like again I'm just naming like maybe some criticism that people might have and just things that I have noticed. Your listening volume is extremely low.
I wouldn't say extremely, but
No, it's extremely low.
generally on the lower side.
No, like it's like too low for I. It's not a bad thing. I think I have this theory. Right? I'm very loud. I speak. I'm a very loud talker, and I listen in moderate volume. And I feel like you speak soft. Just for
Ah,
reference. Just for
uh-huh.
reference. Okay. When we met, you listened to my Gemini on my DX200 with the amp 8 on low gain on 6. Okay,
Uh-huh.
on 6 200. And just comparison, and I would say my listening volume is pretty normal. I listen on 30 or 25.
Huh. But I mean, uh like
Dude, that is low.
yeah, and I guess with volume as well, like listening volume, it does affect like how you perceive sound.
Right.
Like greatly. Like to me that's the one of the like biggest differences between impressions.
And I think that you admitted to yourself somewhat is that sometimes your low volume listening might have a hard time picking up the details.
Yeah, especially on let's say the subway or something where there's a lot of like low end rumble, or buses as well. They would cancel out the sub bass, so I'll need to push a higher volume, but I don't really want to sometimes, you know. So
Right. And honestly, that's not, honestly, I don't think that's a fair criticism of yourself because that's the volume that you are used to listening to at, right?
like
So,
yeah, to
so
me
I
I've
think
been
that
comfortable here.
right, and I don't think anybody should again that's a reference. I don't think anybody should listening to IEMs at a higher volume than usual when they're demoing IEMs.
I definitely agree. If you intentionally try stuff at a higher volume, just to hear like for example, say hear more detail. To me, if you can't achieve detail on a lower volume, then the IM is not good.
Right. I mean, yeah. If it like if you're used to, let's say I have some IEM, right, and it doesn't have a sub bass roll off,
Mm-hmm.
and I test it, and I'm used to this kind of volume listening. And you test some IEM with some kind of sub bass roll off, right? But you crank that volume up, you're still gonna hear the sub bass, even if it's roll off, right?
Yes, yes.
So like I feel like once if you have to like adjust your volume to get more detailed, I feel like that's not a fair, that's not a fair review to this IEM. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and when you like fluctuate in terms of volume, like going from let's say low to loud,
Mm-hmm.
the sound the balance in the sound really changes due to the loudness equal loudness contour.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
so like people who listen at louder volumes, they would like stuff that are more uh maybe N shaped because when you listen at louder volumes, you hear more bass and you hear more treble.
Okay.
Yeah, so
But they
yeah.
mid boost, right? Is that what
Sorry,
you're trying to say?
sorry.
Like in shape as in like that mid boost.
Yeah, that mid boost. For
Okay. Hmm.
yeah.
That's interesting. I think that just me saying that I don't think volume like really you're just listening to whatever you have, and um, like and then the other thing is I forgot what I was going to ask you, and the other thing is that the impression is it's your impression, and people really recently people really come to question that people have this common criticism. Oh, he just tried this for like 15 minutes. Like you shouldn't and you know who that was referred to. Like,
Yeah.
oh, he demoed this for 15 minutes. How can you say this is bad? What's your answer to that? Like,
Uh, it's like okay. So let's say you own a IM that is like good, and then you try something that's average, and you're like, it's not. It's you can't compare. And I think what's important here is that you need to A B, like going from the IM you're making impressions of compared to
mhm,
your normal IM, and then you go back and forth and then see whether the IM that you're trying is actually good or not. Because if you
and
don't
you
have a frame of reference, then it is quite difficult to
right,
make like actual comparisons or like come out with a subjective evaluation.
um, and you get to swap back and forth in 15 minutes.
Uh, perhaps like I'll just try like I mean that one baby metal track. Yeah. But I don't really do it all the time. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. But when I'm doing more serious like critical listening in stores, when it comes to IMs that I actually like, I would go back and forth with like my reference SH3.
Right. And for that particular IEM that you only demo for 15 minutes, it's honestly like is it one of those things that you just don't care about it?
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to trying out average stuff or like mass stuff, is I don't want to try for a long time, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, but now not to play like a devil's advocate, but I do all the time, right? But aren't there like IEM that's like just not hey, like you need some kind of brain burn in, right? Like I feel like because like there's some IEMs that's not like immediately impressive.
It's true. It's true.
So again, like I don't think again you have a lot like I think you have a higher tolerance than me when it comes to shit IEMs. So like I like if you were to put that again like fuck this. We were talking about the V14. If you let me demo the V14,
Mm-hmm.
I I don't even think I want to. Like honestly, I don't even think it's worth my time, right? So I'm giving you props that you gave it 15 minutes, all right?
No,
Um,
no, you see, the thing is that I think it's good, but it's just not to my taste.
right. I mean, it's not great. I mean, right? It's not something that you
Yes.
can.
Yeah, I don't think it's great at all, but it is at least good to me.
I mean, it just sounds okay, right? For $1,000, just sounds okay, right?
Yeah, I'll say so. Yeah.
And I think people would expect you to like demo it for like 6 hours and then like A/B it, like compare it against every other things that like in the price range, and that's
Yeah.
not you. You know, that's just not your thing. And then people go like, well, you didn't try it with this. I'm like, dude, like, fuck, how
Yeah.
it's too much. I feel like, right?
No, but in the case of V14, I took quite a long time actually, just because I needed to try the different kind of settings. Because it had like deep or gain
Really?
switches. Yeah. I
Because
had to go back and forth, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like many times.
so you tried it more than 15 minutes,
Yeah, definitely. I think I tried like probably almost an hour or so.
but that's not what I was told in the Discord drama.
People.
Are you
I mean,
saying he's a liar?
people twist stuff around to fit that narrative, so it's not surprising.
And and even with and like I don't care if you tried it for 15 minutes. I don't care if you tried it for an hour. Let's say there's four tuning. Each tuning you tried it for 15 minutes, so that 15 argument is still there. Um, it's just not. And I get you. I'm not against it. I think it's just hard to demo like mediocre garbage.
Yeah,
Don't you
that
agree?
yeah, that I agree. But in the case of V14 again, I think it's good. That's why I gave it so. That's why I gave it an hour or so. Yeah. I don't think it's garbage, which is why I continued trying it. And there was things for me to like again to have that stream of consciousness about. So I just kept writing and writing and writing. You can tell like the more I write about IEM, the more I write about IEM, like the more I've spent time with it. But
uh,
when it comes to like mediocre stuff, like like bass is bad, like mids are bad, like highs are bad. It just ends there, you know.
yeah, miss win with that tri-fi garbage. But so why don't we move on? And recently you are restructuring your headfi post.
Mm-mm.
Um, and you are doing a more organized by brand maybe, and not just by a little bit more organized, a little bit more stream of consciousness. So what brought about that change?
Oh, honestly, it was just a bit messy looking at the older posts. Like, they'll just be ranked randomly, and then you had to kind of like press alternate F4 and then not alternate F4, Control F, and then
Hmm.
look for the IM you want. But I thought, why not like start filtering them by brands, and then let's say if a person finds out more about, let's say, 64 audio, he could just open the link for 64 audio and then look at what I think of the entire brand as a whole. And I think that's more conducive for the for my own writing, because it kind of compiles everything, and then I could talk about the brand as a whole at the very end.
And I mean, and of course, my opinion doesn't really matter, but I was not. I didn't agree with that change somewhat. And I do read your posts from time to time on IEMs I care about. Again, like if you review some fucking $100 stuff, I really don't care for it. And you don't, and you don't. Most of the time, you reviews, they're just mostly things that you are curious about or some requests. I mean, I feel like um, I enjoy the stream of consciousness a little bit more back at the before the restructuring.
Mm.
Uh, and now it feels a lot more. I don't know. Like I'm not gonna say like it's more organized, but again, like that restructuring was put on hold due to this Corona situation. So like
Oh
we don't
yeah.
know how. Yeah, we don't know how this restructuring is gonna come out. So what? Remind me again. What was like the most recent? You did Campfire Audio, right? After the restructuring, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And what was the other one that you had? I was trying to like looking up your thread right now. Because
Uh,
like you yeah, go ahead.
I have a Sony TA audio shower, pairs
And,
mobile audio fearless. Yeah, that's about it.
oh yeah, and then the Theater Audio is the most recent one, and and I think I only go on your thread whenever I post something is just to troll you. I feel like,
Yeah, pretty
and
much. Yeah.
yeah, and I think people doesn't understand that. I met you and we know each other for a very long time. And they just think like I think people get the impression that I'm just a spiteful troll on your thread, but it's I do think it's funny. But in a um, and that's I mean it's fine. I think the restructure is fine, but then like I think and you do revisit a lot of the IEMs. Like are you planning on like revisiting the old IEMs that you did in the early days?
Oh yeah, of course.
But
Particularly the very first few posts, like the Phantom. Like, I would love to revisit again to see whether my feelings have changed about it.
and I feel like it's um and that's my other thing. Like maybe not a bad thing, but like my little gripes about you is that like you would tell people or me. I don't know if it's a private conversation or not. You're like saying, "Oh, I don't like my previous writing style," right?
Yeah, it's
And
true.
and you try to like change your writing style, like um and shout out to Carib, he does that a lot. He's like the master of not liking his like he's well, you're not as bad as Carib. He would post a review and not like it and have a new account for that the next time. And I was like, "Why the fuck you gotta do that, man?" But I think I see you. I think like over the years, I think I see you change as a. It just feels weird coming out. I see you change as a reviewer, and I think you shouldn't be like maybe like not liking or maybe embarrassed about your older reviews.
Like uh, it's a bit off topic, but if you go like back to the very first post and then keep reading, reading, and reading, to my latest post, you see that like my style of writing has really changed. Like
Right?
in the
Because
in the first few phases, I was writing a bit more flowery language, like the
Mhm.
Phantom, with the JH Diana. I was writing a bit more flower, and then I progressed to a super objective like base writing, like subjective objectivism, I guess you could say. I would just write
Oh
like,
man,
oh, the base is boosted, like the sub base is recessed, the upper mids are boosted, the kind of things going on. And then now I'll write a bit more, a mix of both, I would say. And I'll describe more a
yeah.
bit. I'll describe more about what I'm hearing through, like, let's say some instruments like electric guitar or cymbals.
Which is funny because I like in the beginning, right? And again, and I always thought you as a very technical person. But in a funny way that you're not a technical a major. I want to say like your field of study is not very technical, but then like
Yeah,
I
no.
feel like, but then your hobby and this hobby, like I feel like you're. I think you bore do like I think you bore a lot of people with your technicality. Like the technical talk is super like I think it's hard to understand. Uh
Mm,
um and which is kind of like they have to like read a lot of your reviews to get what you're saying,
mm,
right?
mm.
And in the beginning, it's I think if they follow you from the beginning, I think people would understand you a little bit more. And if like if they just jump into your latest review now, I think they might have a hard time following like maybe what you're saying.
That's
Um,
true.
but that's just part of being a reviewer. I think as a reader, as being your reader, I think they just have to like read your posts, and they're like very uh I wouldn't say informal, but I want to say they're very informal, but at the same time they give them a lot of your thought and a lot of information that the readers might know. Uh,
Mm.
but and the other thing is that I think you're at the point that you are still um like not to compare you with Kryn, but to compare you with Kryn, right?
Uh-huh.
I think he's over at the point that he's done with his thread. That he doesn't really he's not actively answering questions on his thread anymore because he doesn't
Mm.
he hasn't on Discord, right? And you are somewhat still tied down to this thread, and you're at the point that you're still very nice. And you're not a very nice person. And you do, you know what, and you do answer a lot of silly questions on your thread.
Yeah, I
Are you
do.
going to stop doing that in the future?
Um,
Is that
Currently, I mean, if you're asking about like going to, let's say, like building a website, right? Is that what you're talking about?
you don't need to build a website? You have a website that you currently write on.
Oh,
Ah, you,
right.
did I,
Shout out
is
to
that
Android.net.
actually it's we just have recently rebranded because of this podcast, so
Yeah,
it's audio
audio
disc.
discourse. Yeah.
So I mean, is this something that I don't know.
Well, to I see my at least my current plans at least H5 is just more of a perhaps a dumping ground of what I think, like quick fire impressions. Whereas I
Right.
see the audio discourse website as more of like serious reviews where I take a long time to write and a long time to listen to the IEMs. Like I write before I know what I'm talking about. That kind of thing.
I don't think this is serious. I don't think it was never. But yeah, yeah, that's true. But I think it's so there's really not a plan to migrate your impression uh to AD or anytime soon, and
Mm.
it's fine. And honestly, and you could, now that you're thinking about it, right?
Hmm. Well,
I mean,
I don't really want to like flood like Anthony's site, with my content.
I think it would just be like a monthly thing. I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe like
could
a
be,
month,
could be.
like a my monthly update or like a blog thing. I don't know. It depends on, but like, it's up to you. I don't care. You do you, man. Um, the other thing is that I feel like you are very nice in a way that like you're getting to the point that people ask you to compare two IEMs, and obviously sometimes they're good comparisons, and sometimes they're like really out of the left field, right?
Yeah, honestly,
But
it is a bit hard to compare IEMs, especially if you haven't like put them next to each other, like A being. And then it's
and
like,
sometimes they're in a different shop, right? You can't just like sit down and
yeah. And then most of the time, okay, I would just go like based off my very how do I put it, my auditory memory, which isn't very reliable at all.
which is shit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I feel bad about writing it to them, but I just want to
Right,
respond it to them in a sense.
and you have to tell them, say, oh, it's from my memory, so it's not very accurate.
Yeah.
But I think people don't understand like what they want you to do. Like they types like, oh, can you compare Android and M9, right?
Yeah,
And
it does get a bit tiring sometimes, especially if
it doesn't.
I have nothing much to say about like one IM.
But the thing is that where is Android? That's in CIT, right? In Singapore. That's in
Uh,
Connect IT.
yeah, it's at most stores I believe, like Zeppelin,
Really?
E1, Sonic IT. Yeah,
Hmm.
it is. Honestly, Campfire as a brand is very popular.
Okay, fine. Maybe that's a bad comparison. But what I'm getting at is like some people type on Headfire. Right? They go like,
Mm.
oh, can you compare A and B? And A is only at one store and B is only at the other store. What they're
Yeah,
asking you to do is to go to A the same day as you go to B, and you have to try them both back to back, which is like completely impossible. Singapore might be small, but traffic is cancer.
yeah, and then when you move from place to place, you kind of forget how things actually sound. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
still isn't reliable at all.
Right. So like, but they're asking you to commit pretty much your whole day to try these two IMs, and that's a lot of commitment, right? And it takes them
Yeah.
like 20 seconds to type. it's kind of like a lose-lose situation for you because it's like because you're so nice, you have to say, "Oh, this is only for my memory." And if
Yeah,
you
pretty
say
much.
something bad about it, and if you say something bad about it, they goes like, "Well, yeah, because you did beat him directly." I'm like, "Fuck, dude," because he has to like go to one place to the other, or that involves or that involves you owning one of that fucking garbage that you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just like I'm like, dude, like really, I feel like people are again like I think most people are fine. I think it's just the one of the two that I read on your thread. I just can't help but troll people, and I'm like, dude, are you like? Did you just realize you're asking him to either go from one place to the other or owning one of the IEMs that you're talking about for him to directly compare? Like, so like, if they like your impression, it's good. But if they don't like your impression, they just go like, well, he's not
Yeah.
demoing it the most optimal way. But like honestly, at the time, that's probably the best you can do.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know.
that's why I'm not really responding to this kind of questions nowadays. Or if I'm responding, I'll just say that, oh, like I can't make that like accurate comparison that you want.
And that's I think I take that as a cue of you like, oh, I'm not even gonna waste my time. I'm just kidding. That's my word, not yours. I feel like most of the time you say like I'm just not gonna waste my time with this. But
Yeah,
right,
it is true. Like sometimes I just don't spend my weekends trying something that I don't actually like.
right, and that's fine. And but now you're a reviewer, right? Like it's funny because yeah, now you're a reviewer and you have access to the stuff. You owe me this. Like if I ask you on Headfire, you owe me your 5 hours in the day to try these two IEMs, right? I don't care how cheap they are. Like people feel entitled to your opinion, right? And you feel
Mhm.
I feel like at a time you feel pressured. Like I feel like you feel pressured to to
Yeah,
uphold the finish.
especially at the very start, like when people ask me, I'm like, I have to compare, like I have to like like appease this guy in some sense.
Dude, and you would run to EE, and you would run to EE, and the next day you would have an impression of I went to EE, and I tried to. I'm like, holy shit, he did, and like, um, how how much was the round trip the on the
Oh,
rail for like
going to E is
like
about $8 to $9
round trip
US dollars. No, for
round
round trip
one
is about perhaps thirteen
16.
dollars, $13 round trip.
Some some fucker would type on Headbite to compare two IEMs, and you will fucking take off 30 minutes later on your next train into fucking the next city in Japan over to try it, and the next day you will post an impression. I'm like,
Uh,
oh my,
but
that
to
would
be fair, sometimes the requests are stuff that I actually want to try. But nowadays, most things like don't interest me, or I've tried most stuff, so I don't really care.
I think we're just seeing the trend of you being the first, the new and up and coming reviewer and all, full of energy. Now you're just this old
I'm
guy
washed
that's
up.
just like washed up.
I'm washed up. I'm jaded. Help, please.
Yeah, washed up, jaded Singaporean reviewer, doing this podcast with us. And and then I mean I feel like you're still like the nicest, well maybe not. Maybe I want to say like Anthony or Ken probably the nicest out of the four.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's fine and it's funny because I'm always a dick. So I mean people don't ask me for impression unless they go on the VX thread and I give them a piece of my fucking mind. Um um and and I feel like you are probably out of the four of us, Anthony, Ken, you, and me. I think you are probably the most direct opposite of me
In what
in
sense?
terms of in a sense of that I am in this hobby. I am not a reviewer. I like to say, but I do sometimes. And I am not a very I don't want to be technical with
Hmm.
my reviews with my thought. If I don't like something, I don't like it. If I like it, I like it. I'm not very technical, as opposed to you that you are very technical, and we don't agree on a lot of things, which is what I like about you. Uh, but there one thing that I like to give you shit for, which is bring us to the ending segment maybe of my gripe with you is that you have these words, right?
Mm-hmm.
My
Oh man.
my idea of reviewing is that you should have when you write your impression, it should be easy to understand, and everybody should understand them relatively the same. And again, interpretation might vary from person to person, but I think everybody should like read your review and come out of that with roughly the same understanding. But I feel like your review, maybe Crin is getting very good at like using very basic in a good way, like easier to understand language. But for you, it's just like there's just sometimes I like people have to have like some kind of barrier to entry to read your impression, which is kind of defeat
Yeah,
the
that's
purpose.
true. Like
So
sorry,
go
just
ahead.
go in, go in. Go ahead, go ahead.
So like now I want you to maybe explain. Oh man, some of these words to me, right? I'm putting you on the spot. All
Sure.
right, I'm gonna say a word, and you're gonna have to tell me like, these are all the words that you like to say, okay? And don't say me. I never say that, right?
Okay.
Let's start with the easy one, right? And I think that's the most one that I give you stuff for. The word shouty. What do you mean by that? Like mostly to put in context, you like to comment on the fact that the Harmon target is shouty for you, right? What do you
Hmm.
mean by that?
Okay. Shouty would be a emphasis of the range between uh 1500 hertz to 2500 hertz. This
Okay.
is most commonly seen in the moon drop essay. If you ever heard it, it is very upper mid focus. So vocals come in as a bit uh very thin. It's like it's jumping out at you in some sense.
Okay. So and shouty that has just to do with like and going into the deal where this word that you didn't really made up, but and peanut gain is just around that region as well, right? So sometimes like you say something is too shouty for you, and it usually
Hmm.
means that it has does it usually mean it has too much peanut gain for you or what?
It
Any
could
like correlation?
it could be that okay. So Pinot gain is a gain from it is a huge range. It is from about 1,000 hertz to about 10,000 hertz. So
Okay.
something can have my preferred Pinot gain, but if it has like way too much 1 to 2K plus my Pinot gain, then yes, it could sound shouty.
Okay. And again, going back to the vocal thing, what do you mean by shrilled?
Okay, shrill is a recession between 700 to about 8,000 hertz. So when you see IEMs that they are very V-shaped, like let's say the Fearless Acid F, between the 700 to about 1,000 hertz, they have like a big recession or a deep at that area.
From 700 to 8,000?
Sorry, 1,000.
1,000. From
Hmm.
700 to 1,000 hertz, like a recession. So
Hmm.
like the fearless. Can you give me like a more like a common example? I'm still not getting it.
Uh,
Like
well, most V-shaped IEMs are uh
okay,
tend to have a recession
okay,
at that area. Oh, CE5 perhaps.
okay. There you go.
Hmm.
That's a good. That sounds shrill, and that's usually like the male vocal, right? Or what?
The male vocals tend to sound a bit deep. Uh,
Okay,
and then female vocals can sound a bit too aggressive at times.
okay. That's what shrill means. Okay, what does veiled means?
Oh, veiled, to me at least, it is a lack of pinna gain. So let's say, I mean, if you saw my curve, the curve I recently updated, I have about
Okay.
8 decibels of gain at about 3,000 hertz. So let's say if there's around 4 or 5, the
Mhm.
harmonics of the treble can sound a bit like muffled, which is why I equate to being veiled.
Okay.
For example, Campfire Andromeda. Not only does it
Okay.
have a mid bass hump, like a big lower mid bass hump, it also has very little pinna gain in the 3,000 hertz to and above region. So what happens is that the harmonics sound a bit suppressed relative to the original signal, how it should sound like.
Okay. So if it has too much peanut gain, is shouty, and if it has too little peanut gain, is veiled.
Yeah, I'll describe it that way.
You're very hard man to please. Okay.
No,
Now this is Yeah, go ahead. You
The
want to
thing
say
is that
something?
pinage is very subjective because it depends on a person's anatomy. So I could like 8 decibels of pinage gain, but someone else could like 12, that kind of thing. And then 12 be like, oh, 12 is like way too much for me. But it could be normal for like a person that has like those kind of ears that will feed like what 12 decibels worth of pinage gain. Yeah, so it's normal to like a different amount. It is not like sacrilege for an audiophile to like 13 or 12 decibels.
Is it sacrilege for me to not care about FW 10K and the peanut gain on that? And I also don't care about, again, that has a lot of peanut gain, right? And I
Mm.
also don't care how little peanut gain is on the F4SS.
Well, some people look at it more as a as a whole in some sense. So I mean, if you ask me, I would say F10K is way too much like peanut gain for me, and
Oh
then
yeah.
4SS would be a bit muffled sounding. Yeah, so I mean I would like something in the middle, but in most cases, peanut gain won't throw me off as bad as I want it to be.
I don't
Like
think it does to me, and I can understand why. Like, and again, FW10K will be shouty, and then S4SS would be shrilled, right? In your word,
4SS would be muffled, veiled,
muffled.
perhaps.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, veil. Okay. All right, moving on to another word. Uh, your favorite word, which
Oh
is
yes.
going out of style. Not the word that you're probably thinking about, the one that you used to at M9, which spatial cues.
Oh, all right. Special
That's
cues is
that's a word that you made up, which has nothing to do with anything really.
well, special cues is just another word for imaging, really.
I don't like again like. Can you give a background about how that word like
Okay.
give me a
So
headache on
all
Discord?
right. Okay. So when a mixing engineer uh when he mixes his sound, or he or she, sorry, mixes their sound, sometimes they will play some instruments forward, some instruments backwards, not backwards, like further back, and then some instruments pan to the left, some pan to the right.
Right.
So when you have proper spatial cues, you can determine the distance in some sense of how far the instruments are in each other in the recording.
Right, but isn't that
Yeah.
just staging and imaging?
Yeah, it's pretty much just saying imaging, just that I use that term to really describe that sense of spaciousness and the accuracy in terms of the positioning of instruments.
But like that, nobody else used that word until you said. I think M9 has good spatial cues, and that brought on a wave of headache for me because I think it's annoying that people have no idea what you're talking about, and they just kind of like to use that word.
It's kind of interesting. Like sometimes you could have like two-person can use the same word, but both of them has actually
Right.
like different definitions of like what it actually means.
And that's my problem. And like people don't understand the word and what you mean by it, and they like to use it. And their interpretation, like again, like you use all these hard words, and then like people can interpret them differently. So like it like, that's why I'm saying you have some kind of barrier to entry with your reviews. Like that spatial key with the N9 thing, that was like old news, but like I don't think people use that word anymore, and I'm glad, nowadays I got that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've been trying to like in a sense dumb down my reviews to make it more readable, more accessible for people. Like that's the reality of it. Like at the start, I'll use very flowery language, and then people did not understand what I was writing about. So I've been trying to
I'm
change like
trying to I'm trying to dumb down my reviews for these dumbasses. Is that what you're trying to say?
not really. It's just that some words like in my head they sound better rather than me typing it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I make fun of you for that, and I don't disagree that and the fact that people should just use very simple to understand languages, and people should when it comes to reviews, they shouldn't use any like flowery things, or should they give them a drum solo that a beatbox out of a Tupac's DSD album? Like that's just ridiculous, right?
Mm-mm.
Enough about that joke. Next word, maybe less spicy. Transient.
Oh wow.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Okay. So a transient is a temporary I mean based on its definition, is a temporary like burst of like, let's say, perhaps energy. It is something that's temporary. So
Okay, okay. I'm gonna
let's take
pause you.
a the son of a,
The
let's say,
dictionary review is like a person who is staying or working in a place for only a short time, or number two, probably more, a momentary variation in currency, voltage, or frequency. I don't think that's any of your meanings. Okay.
that's not, yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
All right, okay. So, let me just first example. Let's say I step on a kick drum, so you produce
Okay.
a thumping sound, right? So a
Mhm.
transient is it is what that sound encompasses. So the very start of a transient is the attack, and then you have the body, and then you have the decay function. So a transient
Okay.
is a like the attack, sustain, and the decay like all together. That's a transient to me.
So why? So when you says as what's that four letter words that Corinne likes to make fun of?
Four letter word.
Uh, that four letter what's that word? Fucking the phrase that he likes. Pratt. There you go. Isn't that just Pratt?
Oh, not really. I've never really understood what pret means. To be honest. Yeah.
Okay. So for you, transient it just means that just this one singular instrument
No.
and how it.
It is just it is a characteristic of sound in general. For example, if I say something has snappy transients, it means that uh it hits hard and then it decays really fast away. But when I say something has like very sloppy transients, perhaps it could hit hard, but the decay takes a bit longer.
But I feel like it's too broad of a word, don't you think?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Again, like you're not the only one who's guilty of this, but I'm just trying to get you to explain this to me. Like I don't I kind of get what it means, but I just don't. And I think like if I know I'm not a very smart man, but I don't think. And I talk to you more than most people, I think. And if I don't get what that means, and I don't feel like other people would. I feel like
Hmm.
don't use transient anymore. That's a stupid word.
But I like it. It's one of my favorite terms.
Like it makes you sound smart, but like it defeats the purpose of having an impression. That's what I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand where I'm coming from.
You know, but again, like that's a coming. I'm just dumbing down your reviews. Just dumb it down, man. Uh, uh, next one, probably something that I like to give you some shit about, which is very close to my heart. What does honky means?
Oh, honky. Okay, honky is a emphasis on the about 1,000 to about 1,500 hertz.
But
So
isn't
when
that just like fucking shouty?
they do share some similarities where honky is more of a, it implies a slightly nasal tone to me.
Okay,
Like
to you.
IMs like the Audio Technica IEX1. Yeah, that's honky for sure. Oh, as well
Oh
as
no,
the
no, that's not the
8SH.
example. And then that's not the example that I want you to give. The other QDC. Like you like to say every single QDC is honky. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah, it
It
just
just sounds
well, it's just too much about 1,000 to 1,500 hertz. Yeah.
um. But isn't that what shouty means?
Uh, Shouty is more okay. You see, how do I put it? Shouty is more of a being shrill, whereas no, sorry, shouty is more of like okay. Let's say you have uh vocals blaring at you. The vocals would sound like they are very aggressive and trying to attack you. Whereas for honky, uh, they can be laid back, but at the same time as well they can be very nasal sounding, as if like how do I put it? Like the person has a very bad case of a cold today in that sense.
I do like I still don't get it, man. It's too much. Like it feels like the same thing, but except when you say honky, you only use it to describe QDC, and and I'm like, and I was just confused. I'm not mad. I mean, I like to act like I'm mad. Like every time like you would see the band, I would call you like you sound honky, you know. And uh, uh but I mean, it's just hard to like that's my big thing, right? And going off from the thing is that I feel like I feel you are a very technical reviewer, but a lot of your impressions focus on the tonality side of things, which is kind of strange. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, honestly I totally agree. Yeah.
Right? Because because and we have private conversations or on Discord or in voice chat about your distaste, dislike, displeasure, or this anything of VX or the QDC lineup, which I don't take kindly of.
Hmm.
Uh, and you would uh, you would always say like the timbre is really really bad, right?
Mm-mm.
So like is that what's your criticism here? Like
Of the VX or
or just the entire line, just VX. Yeah, you like to give me shit for that. And I understand. Well, partly no. Just
okay,
just say it to my face and say it for everybody else.
okay. For the VX specifically, I do find that the bass sounds a bit I mean, it's just BA bass to my ears. Like it lacks
Hey, I
weight.
mean,
Yeah, and it sounds a
but
bit grainy as well.
what do you mean by grainy? Like the
uh,
bass is grainy?
no. How do I put it? Okay. Let's talk about the bass first. Like,
Okay, go.
I suspect that due to the honkiness in the
God damn it!
1K
What's the
range,
wrong here?
like honestly, the bass does sound a little bit off. Like when compared to like a proper speaker kind of bass.
What the? It's fucking. It's in your ears. I mean, like
Yeah,
what?
that's true.
You can't compare it to speakers. That's compare it to another IEM, not DD. Compare to another BA IEM. Here, I'll give it to you. Compare to the 12T.
Oh yeah, 12D sounds so much better in the bass. Like honestly, like the harmonics are more correct in some sense for the bass.
Correct in sense. In what sense?
Uh, okay, in VX, I would say that the bass sounds almost bright even.
The bass sounds bright.
Yeah, it almost sounds bright like to my ears. It sounds crazy, but it is how I hear like the VX.
I feel that that's not a word that you would use to describe bass, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually I don't say that word, but I'm kind of out of like descriptors here.
How about this? Like, how about easy words? In my and I'm gonna say my description of it, and you can agree or disagree with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it has very fast attack, yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
but it has very little decay. Probably the fastest decay out of most things. Would you agree with that?
For me, it sounds like a typical BA kind of speed.
Okay, so
Yeah,
but it's still fast, and
yeah,
like
it's
when it
still
comes,
fast.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because 12T is slow, right? 12T is slower than that.
I wouldn't say like I would say slower, but 12T is still a relatively like fast kind of bass sound. Yeah.
But it lacks impact. Does it lack impact?
Oh no, for me, 12T has one of the
No, not
biggest.
12T. I mean VX. I mean
Oh
VX.
yeah, slightly, slightly.
Well, I think it does. I think that's a fair criticism of it. And but it has texture because it's very fast.
That I'll agree with.
So how does bright come into this like thing, right? Like I just don't.
Yeah. For example, let's say you play a bass line like from a bass guitar. The VX like it tends to emphasize uh the mid meets harmonics like let's say about 800 to about 1.5k. It tends to
Mhm.
emphasize this like very mid kind of harmonics, so it sounds a bit odd sometimes to my ears.
Okay. So it's just a frequency.
Yeah,
How
to
they
me
tune their
it's
frequency.
a frequency thing. Yeah.
Okay. And moving on for the bass, and the vocal, and you say it sounds again like honky.
Hmm.
Uh, what's your other thing with VX, man? Just tell me. Just throw it out there.
Oh,
I'm like
like VX has a mid treble spike that my ears are not a fan of.
where like 68.
Uh, Perhaps around the region I would say. Yeah, but it is like for like 5 minutes is fine, but when you take it like 10 or even an hour, it starts to like get on my nerves.
That 68K spike you don't like?
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of. Which is why
Thread flip.
I do prefer the Gemini a little bit more because of
Right.
the lack
Yeah.
of that same spike. Yeah.
Right. And that's just based on your personal preference, I would say,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But like, and it's funny because as much as you don't like VX, I think even you cannot deny how good its technical ability is,
Yeah,
right?
of course. Yeah. I mean, no matter how much like talk shit about like Gemini or VX, uh, I mean, the truth is that I still rate it as one of my favorite like Indian monitors. Like
Right.
I would say it's like probably like top 3 BA sets, and BA sets are like superior to DD sets if you ask me personally. Yeah, so
Okay.
I do hold a high regard for the VX and the Gemini.
And do you think do you think you can fix the tone without having it sound more low res?
Yes and no, perhaps. I do believe that the coloration in the VX is what gives it that perceived resolution in some sense.
Really?
Mm.
Because I feel like going from the Gemini to VX, and I think like again I don't know this I because I'm very used to how a QTC sounds. I do not notice any of these tonality problems, right?
Hmm.
So and I always feel like, and you say the tone sounds fucked up, wonky, plasticky, honky, whatever, and I accept it because I'm like, okay, I understand, but I don't see it because I'm used to it, right? And I
Hmm.
always feel like it's one of those things that you can't like. I'm saying if QTC fixed the tonality, I feel like it will not sound as high res.
Yes, it will lose a charm, in my opinion, from how I see it.
So it's more like the tonality. If you're not used to it, too bad.
Yeah, in
Kind
a
of thing.
sense, you do have to get
Yeah.
used to it if you want to really like it.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Um.
when you do get used to it, I feel that it is the some of the very best like monitors you can get right now.
Thank you. I just want that. I just wanted to hear you say that. Okay. So enough of the QDC segment. You have one last word probably the word that you're waiting for. You like to use the word haze 5 or hazy.
Oh, my favorite word.
That's the word that you
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Haze fight is just muffle. Yeah, it is the same as the lack of Pina again.
okay.
Yeah,
You just like to use that word.
and perhaps it is like way too much low mids like around the 300 400 hertz region.
Okay.
Like it's a bit too of a hump at that area. Like let's say Andro, like he has that problem, so it does sound like haze fight to me.
I feel like isn't that like more of a combination of lack of technicality and bad tuning?
Yeah, it could be both. Like sometimes haze fight stuff tends to image uh has a very big stereo image, like the image close to your face and very intimately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But how does that have anything to do with hazy or haze 5 though? Like I mean, you describe like 334, V8, and Andro as hazy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how did that like how do those three have like in common?
Like, hey, let's say your monitor is 1080 like pixels, right?
Mhm.
And then you open a like 360 pixel photo and then you stretch it out to match your computer screen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how like it sounds very grainy and then like it sounds stretched out to me in some sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
sound
like
like it doesn't sound like it's in focus.
okay. That was okay.
Hmm.
Maybe like a foggy day, like something like that,
Yeah, foggy day. Yeah, the kind of
Okay.
term going on.
And you like I always thought it's just like a combination of between like low peanut gain and the lack of technicality, right?
Yeah, it could be, it
Uh,
could be.
it could be, but it could not. Like, there's not like a definition for it. You just like
Oh,
to throw that word
yeah,
around,
it's just a random word I
like
like to use. Like, oh,
a
it is almost like the same equation as like low resolution sounding.
right.
Yeah,
Oh man, you and your words, I don't.
yeah, that one's a bit more personal to my heart in some sense.
Jesus. I don't think I want to hear any other person saying that word. It's just so. I'm like, what do you even mean? Like it doesn't it doesn't register in my brain. Like because like it might be different. Like when you say hates 5, you might mean something different. And when I think about it, I just think like I mean again. Well, that was the last word. Any word that you want to explain? That's the last word that I have. Any fun
Uh,
words? Did I miss anything?
I don't know. Sometimes it's like I'm just typing out what I feel like, so you're just like picking out words that I might have accidentally typed or something.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
the problem is that you're not like you're not writing it just for
Mm.
yourself. You're writing it for people to read, and people's interpretation is different from your intent, then you have this blurred thing there that people don't understand you, and that's a problem with reviewers, right?
Yeah,
If you
that's
want to
true. That's
be
true.
right,
Mm-mm.
and I think I hope that this clarifies. If anybody asks you what these words means, that you can just direct them to the last part of the podcast or something. I don't know. What's the plan for the future? Probably the last question. Give you the shout out to your thread, and we'll probably
Uh,
this is probably way too.
yeah. I think a day back I posted a update on my target curve, which is
Oh, that's right. That's right. We
yeah,
need to talk about that. Yeah, everybody else had a
target
fucking good.
V5. Yeah, so the curve is estimate of what I like in an in-ear monitor in terms of just purely just frequency response. So it doesn't cover things
Okay.
like the transient response, like I just like mentioned. Uh, so the curve is designed to sound like an average of what I like, as well as no, it is mostly what I like. To be honest,
Mhm.
it
Yeah, your
is
preference.
yeah, it is meant to be a modification of the Harman curve to give it more mid range.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that 700, that 70 to that 700 to 1000 dip that made it sound shrill, right? And it doesn't sound
Mm.
bare. Nor does it sound honky, right? Is that all? Is any other words? Does it have good spatial cue as well?
Well, special Q doesn't really come from tonality, I would say. I don't know. Yeah.
And and I think for people who and how does that like that looks awfully similar to Critical's
Oh yeah,
Dawn.
yeah. Don does have more mid bass, more bomb for, as well as more 1 to 2K. He likes that vision more than me, like than I
Okay.
do. Yeah. Yeah, but the plan moving forward, I will be trying to popularize the curve. So I will need some help to get some measurement data and then come up with like EQ filter settings for people to try. On as many earphones as possible, if I can. So perhaps I'll come with a database of, let's say, 100. That would be very impressive. Like that's like a goal, and then people could
And
try, and then they could feedback the sound based off what they just tried.
but like it's kind of like hard because every and again you don't believe in this, but I kind of do. Like how would I go about doing that on my AK player? I don't think I can.
Yeah, AK plays you can't. You do have to use
A
an application
UAPP,
with
right?
parametric EQ like UAPP, or if you're on a computer, it's very easy. You can just download equalizer APO and then load up this GUI and then just load in
Okay.
my settings. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'll give that a try once you make one for the VX maybe. I mean, or the Z1R.
Yeah,
I can.
yeah, it's actually quite easy, honestly. Like
Yeah.
I do have an algorithm that kind of like auto EQs it for me, but I have to still
Oh, okay.
manually adjust like the bass and the treble as well.
And that's just your curve. And for those people who don't know don't know what we're talking about, it's on your head 5 thread.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about your little collab, or is that under a cover right now?
It's a bit undercover right now.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
think that's like maybe for another podcast once that's out and about, and then we can talk about that. And then
Yeah.
I'll tell you to your face why it sounds honky and transient.
Yeah.
And lack spatial cues and all that good stuff. Well, you talking shit about my VX, you know.
Mm.
Right. I think this is the end. Anything else you want to say?
Not really. Just I guess view my head 5 thread, see the curve for yourself.
Oh man, what here? Cut it. I hope you have that recorded because I'm not doing this shit again.
Don't forget to buy VX.
But there you go. There.